All right, another LearnWake analysis clip submitted by Special One. Let's see, user LearnWake user Special One. The subject is inverts and general advice about the inverts. So let's go through the video. Check out the problems with each video, or not necessarily problems, just areas where you could actually improve. I've actually paused a tantrum right here. Get great pop on your tantrum. Let's just rewind it and kind of check everything out. So, nice wide edge out, nice aggressive turn, seated position, flat edge. But I noticed when you flip, you get quite a bit of line tension, and a lot of that's due to this shoulder position at the top of the wake. You're not quite squared up with the boat path, and when your shoulders are open towards the back of the boat, this forces you to throw the trick back away from the boat a little bit, which can make the line tight. So if you squared up a little bit more and lifted your back shoulder a little higher than your front shoulder, with your shoulders square to the boat path, meaning your shoulders need to be more parallel to the wake, that'll actually direct you up more and a little bit towards the boat, so you have less line tension. Because you can see at the end of this trick, right there, you kind of get slung and thrown out the back, and you can see this shoulder position right here is very similar to your takeoff position. So let's actually look at that one more time. So let's watch closely, check out the shoulder position. So the shoulders never really get square on the takeoff, and then they're never square on the landing. Now you see the board position right here. Tantrum is one of the few tricks where you actually don't want to land the same way you would land a heel side wake jump. When you do a heel side wake jump, the nose of the board is pointed across the boat path towards the opposite shoreline, kind of like you have the board here. For tantrums, that's not necessarily ideal. It's better if you land and actually stop. Don't keep going out towards the flats. You want to stop, and you want to try to point the nose of the board more towards the back of the boat. So the nose of the board should actually be pointed this way. The board should be more parallel with the boat path, not perpendicular to it, and not pointed out towards the other shoreline. That's why your line's so tight, because of this position and your shoulder position throughout the flip. So that's kind of where you can improve on your tantrum. So let's look at that one more time. Just at normal speed, so you can kind of see the line tension. I lied. I accidentally paused it. So let's do that one more time. Let's just watch that normal speed, and you can see the line tension on that tantrum. So that's kind of why it whips around hard at the end, because of the board position and the shoulder position. So let's look at the next invert. This back roll, I wouldn't change a thing for the back roll. With a heel side roll to revert in mind, this body position not necessarily going to be ideal. If you start with your hips out like this, it makes it really hard to turn to revert. What I try to think about for a back roll, I'm not so concerned with this position right here. Like, I don't really worry about my hip position. For a roll to revert, I want to get my hips up further, so I should be a little bit more straight from my knees through to my shoulders. And what that does is it allows you to turn to the roll to revert easier, and it gets you more of your toes on the landing. So let's forward this a little bit, and you can see the position gets even worse. So if you were for a back roll, this is fine. You can get away with it, and it's not that big of a worry. But when you decide you want to do back roll to reverts, and we'll see later on in the video when you take that hard fall how this affects you, this position is going to be a problem. So all the way through the top of the wake, you should be straight. There should be a straight line from your kneecaps to your shoulders. No bend at the waist at all, or you're going to struggle to turn and land over your toes for the roll to revert. Back roll looks great. Keep the back roll the same. I mean, it's nice and big, poppy. I really like that. So don't change that. For this toe side, I think this is a toe side front roll. For a toe side front roll, it's not really this position isn't really a concern. You're just not really going to be able to direct yourself up higher because of your upper body position. So a good thing to imagine is if you had a pole that was attached to your chest pointing this way, you can see where that pole, if it was sticking straight in your chest, it's pointed down towards the water. So that's kind of the direction that you're gonna direct the trick off the wake. If you took your upper body position and bent it more straight this way, and then you had that pole still sticking in your chest, that pole would be pointed up into the air, and that kind of gives you like an arrow saying, okay, now the trick's going to be directed more up, and it would allow you to go more straight up instead of straight across. So right here, you should actually be back over the tail of the board, ready to kind of cast yourself or direct yourself up in the air and over. So that's just kind of a product of this position on the approach. So if you start like this, you're directing the trick down. If you start in better position, now you can actually start in this position and just cock your shoulders back when you get to the wake to direct it more up. So really try to concentrate on doing that. So see how you kind of never recover from that, and now you're just really directing the trick kind of across the wakes and down. And that's why it's kind of low, and basically the way you take off is the way you're going to land, and that's kind of why you get bent over on the landing too. So since you're not projecting it up and over, you have a lot of line tension, and this is going to make it hard to do Tootsie Rolls, crow mobs, and even scarecrows. Like a little too much line tension on scarecrows can make you fall back on your butt on the landing. So again, that's a product of your toe side jump kind of bad habit that we discussed in the other video. But it's a good front roll. It's just it's going to be a little difficult to progress to other tricks with that body position. So let's look at this. That tantrum was a little better. Let's see if you squared up a little better on this one. Yep, you did. You actually squared up your shoulders. See how they're more. Let me see if I can rewind that just a little bit more and stop it in a better spot. I stopped it too late. Let's give it one more try. But you can see right here, everything's in line with the boat path instead of open towards the boat, and that's why the trick goes up more with less line tension. So try to concentrate on doing that. You can also see right here the board isn't as pointed towards shore on the landing, it's more pointed at the back of the boat, and again that also helps you decrease the line tension throughout the flip. So nice work on that one. So let's check out this. I believe this is a scarecrow attempt. Again, see how you directed the trick down, and that's why it's so low. So like if you pointed your chest up right around in this area and left the wake, rode up the wake with your chest pointed up and then went up and over, you'd get a lot more height, have a lot less line tension, and then that wouldn't happen on the landing. So I think this is another scarecrow attempt. So let's check this one out. Yep, see again, you're kind of bent over. If you were more upright, you could direct it up. And also bent over on the landing because of the takeoff. So, and again, you see right there, the line tension kind of throws you back on your butt. So let's look at that one more time. Again, this is all a product of that initial movement right there. You saw how you bent forward at the waist to start your movement in instead of leaning down the rope. And that's kind of what gives you that position. It's not bad. It's an easy fix. So just got to fix that initial toe side position and how you project yourself. And be careful because you're already starting to kind of build that same habit on your switch toe side. So you can see right here when you start your edge in, first thing you do, bend at the waist, and then you're kind of locked into that position. So make sure you lean down the rope and keep your shoulders or your position straight from your shoulders to your knees. And then this is the roll to revert, and you can see right there, this is going to be a problem on the landing. Seated position just does not work for roll to revert. It's got to be from your knees to your shoulders, got to be straighter through, and you'll be able to see that takeoff's not bad, but the folded up position kind of throws the board out the back. And then right about here, you'll be able to see, oops, that was another back roll. Hold on one second. Let's get to the roll to revert. Okay, so you're going to see right about here, you're going to fold up fold at the waist just like you were. See right there? From your shoulders through your hips to your knees is folded in half. And in this position, it's really hard to get on your toes. So that's kind of a product of the takeoff position. It doesn't allow you to rotate the roll to revert. What I would do on this is slow the boat down and learn how to do inside out roll to reverts at slower speed. So you would start in the middle. You actually start on the inside of the wake. You kind of drop down towards the middle and then load the line and try to do an inside out roll to revert and land in the flats. And this is, you can slow the boat down, and it's a lot less impact than actually trying them wake to wake initially. So I actually just did that with a student this morning at the wakeboard camp, and the falls didn't really hurt the rider at all, and they were able to work on the trick. So definitely a safer alternative, but definitely got to fix that position. So you're riding good. You pop good. You just got to clean up some positions and a little bit of technique, and then you'll be able to progress past these tricks. So nice work, and thanks for the